Section 10.3, we have a key idea to look at this time. We're still solving equations. Method 1, we can use algebra like we did in the last two sections. Method 2, we can use a table. You can find the value of the variable that makes the value of each side of the equation the same. So that's going to be a little bit new for us here. Method 3, we can use a graph. We can graph each side of the equation. The x-coordinate of the point of intersection is the solution of the equation. Now, to use a graph, they are having you do it using a graphing calculator, and I realize that you may not have one at this point. So what we're going to do is we're either going to use one of the first two methods, or if they give us a graph, then we're going to look at how we can use a graph to get the answer. All right, so in example 1, solving an equation using a table. Use a table to solve 4x plus 2 equal 5x, and then check your solution. So how do we do this? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a table, and I'm going to put in values for x, and I'm just going to choose values that I think might work. I'll probably start with maybe -1, 0, 1, and then go from there. And I want to see what happens if I put those values in the left side of my equation. So the left side is 4x plus 2. I'm going to make a column for 4x plus 2. The right side of my equation is 5x, so I'll make a column for that. All right, so I'm going to start with -1. If I put -1 into the left side for x, here, 4 times -1 is -4. -4 plus 2 is -2. If I put -1 in 5x, I get -5. These numbers are not the same, so -1 is not a solution. So I'm going to go on to the next number. I'm going to try 0. If I put 0 for x, here I get 0 plus 2 is 2. If I put 0 for x here, 5 times 0 is 0. So that's not going to work because they don't match. Let's try +1. If I put, so 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. And then over here, if I put in 1, 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, that doesn't work, but I am noticing that my numbers are getting closer. So I'm hopeful that I'll soon find the right answer. So let's try 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. If I put 2 here, 5 times 2 is 10. All right, we found it. Because these two are the same result, my answer is x equal 2. Now they're asking me to check it. All right, so to check my answer, I'm going to look at the original problem. Let's see. Or I guess you could check it here by just putting, I'm not sure. The only way I know to check it that I can think of is to just write down the original problem and substitute in the x that we think works. Substitute in the 2. So we're going to check. 4 times 2 plus 2 equals 5 times 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10. It checks. So my answer is x equal 2. In example 2, you were asked to use a graph to solve x plus 1 equal 5 minus x, and then check your solution. So to use a graph, they're referring to a graphing calculator. So I know you probably don't have a graphing calculator, and that's fine. You don't need it. But I'm going to show you how this works. So like I've got the TI-84 Plus, and you will need to eventually purchase one of these for high school. But for now, I'm just going to show you how it works. There's a button at the upper left-hand corner. It's called y equals. So I'm going to press that. And then it gives me a list of, of this y sub 1, y sub 2, y sub 3, etc. I'm going to use this to type in the equations that I was given. So on the left side of the equation, I've got x plus 1. So I'm going to go up to, I'm going to, excuse me, go to the top equation. I just pressed something, I don't know what I did. Okay, so starting at the top equation, I'm going to type in x plus 1. So the x button is right here, plus 1. And then I'm going to arrow down, and the second equation is 5 minus x. So 5 minus x. Then I'm going to press graph. and it's going to show me what this graph looks like. Okay, so this was this was the first equation that I typed, the first line, and this is the second one. So I can see by the way the graph is forming that the solution is at the point of intersection right here. So we're just asked to solve for x. We need to figure out the x coordinate for that point where the two lines intersect. All right, so to help us do this, I know it's not going to show up too well on your screen, but let me zoom in. Okay, so zooming in, it looks like the x value for that point of intersection, if I go back to the origin, I can see one little tick mark, two tick marks. It looks like it's 2. So it looks like the answer is x equal 2. So I'm going to write down x equal 2. And then I'm going to check and see if that's actually right. If x equals 2, then I'm going to put 2, so for my check, 2 plus 1 equal 5 minus 2. All right, 2 plus 1 is 3, 5 minus 2 is 3, so yeah, it checks. So the answer is x equal 2. So graphing calculators can be very helpful. And again, you're going to need one eventually, but don't worry about it right now. So that's number 2. Now, let's see, what else have we got? So when you get to the actual exercises, I'm not going to do these, but it says use a table or a graph to solve the equation. So you can choose which way you want to do it. You could use the table, or if you happen to have a graphing calculator, you could do it that way. We're going to look at example 3. All right, you pay $30 for a workshop on environmental conservation. Then you rent a canoe for X hours. Your friend pays $45 for a kayak paddling lesson, then rents a kayak for X hours. At the end of the day, you both spent the same amount. How many hours did you rent the canoe? Okay, and we've got information on the side to help us out too. All right, so we've got you and we've got your friend. So let's organize our information. You and friend. You pay $30 for the workshop. Then you rent a canoe for X hours. All right, and the hourly rentals for the canoe are $15. So you're going to have to pay $15 times the number of hours X. They said it was X hours. Your friend pays $45 for a kayak paddling lesson, then rents a kayak for X hours. So the kayak is $10 an hour. Okay, so that's what your friend paid. At the end of the day, you both spent the same amount. So that means that this, whatever this is, and this are equal. So you can make an equation. How many hours did you rent the canoe? All right, well, let's see if we can solve this for X. So I'm going to subtract 10x on both sides. Excuse me, 30 plus 5x equals 45. And then let's subtract 30 on both sides. 5x equals 15. Divide by 5. X equals 3. Okay, so I got x equal 3. Have I answered the question? They wanted to know how many hours did you rent the canoe, and they told us to use x for how many hours we rented the canoe for X hours. So that means that we rented it for 3 hours. Now, do we have to check it? It doesn't say to, but I'm going to check anyway. So I'm going to put 3 back into the original equation here for my check. All right, so 30 plus 15 times 3 equals 45 plus 10 times 3. 30 plus 45 equals 45 plus 30. 75 equals 75, so that does check. So my answer is 3 hours. Okay. And that's it. Those are the examples for section 10.3. So you've got practice problems that have been marked in your packet. And when you get finished with 10.3, there is a quiz that follows. So you should be able to handle these problems as well. So if you can get through all of these, come to me and let me know, and then we'll talk about where you can go from there. All right, thank you.